What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mike and Yourself. In this week's video, we're going to swap out the grips on our 2017 Road Glide. Damn it! Alright guys, so like I said, we're going to swap out the grips on our 2017 Road Glide, and the only reason I'm kind of covering this is I've never done a fly-by-wire setup before, and there's something a little bit tricky about the grips that I ordered. So these are grips that I've bought in the past. I had them on my 95 Fat Boy in some of the older videos, and that is the Avon ISO Grips. So if you've never heard of these or seen these or felt these grips are really great. Like, they're super comfortable. I bought them for my Fat Boy because that, you know, if you know your bikes, 95 is Evo. It's a soft tail frame, so that means the motor is mounted directly to the frame of the bike, and that motor is not counterbalanced, right? So it shakes like crazy, and the way it was set up, it really, you know, I'd hit a lot of high RPM, and that just really vibrated throughout my body. So I made some changes to that bike to try to help compensate for that. In this particular case, what I'm doing is really getting rid of the grips that came with my bike, and I don't know if they're aftermarket or if it's something that Harley did. I'm assuming not Harley, just because they don't have any Harley logos on them, but I could be wrong. And I want to put something on there that I can ride a little bit longer for more comfort. So let me explain why. Okay, so these are the grips that came with my bike, and they're performance machine, and I believe they also make like brakes or something like that, or I don't know. Anyhow, so these are the grips that came with it, and they are hard. So like, the grip is pretty good, that's not a problem. It's just these things are solid, man. If I, you know, there's no give there. So really, if you want any kind of padding, you're 100% reliant on the padding in your gloves, and that just doesn't make for a comfortable ride. So let's take a look at the clutch side, because that's the interesting side. All right, so here on the clutch side, this is kind of what, you know, threw me off a little bit as I looked at my grips when I was shopping around, and when I bought these, they say it covers 95 and older, and then 96 and newer. But what threw me off here is, or what's throwing me off, this part of the grip here, you can see it's got like a, I don't know, like an extension, whatever. It's supposed to fit inside of the housing. And on my 07 Road King, my grips are the exact same setup, or like that style, right? Like it gets into the grip, but these ones aren't. So these grips are actually held on by a set screw on both sides. So this one actually doesn't even go into the housing. So according to the instructions, and this is where it makes me kind of goofy, and maybe that's why we don't follow instructions, it says that it should just fit in, you rotate it until it locks in, and then you close your housing. Well, doesn't do it. Now the one thing is, on my Fat Boy, when I did that bike, you have to actually hack that part off. So you saw it off, and they have you glue it to your bar. Now I'll tell you what, total personal preference. I'm really not into the gluing the grip to my bars, and maybe some of you say, Mike, that's stupid, you should always glue it to your bar, you're gonna put yourself in danger or something like that. I don't know. What I've done in the past is I usually put either some type of like tape or something like that, and it's held extremely well. I've had zero problems with it. That's just me, that's my preference, and it allows me to easily remove it at some point in time. I say easily, I use that term loosely, in that, yeah, it's a struggle to get off, because I put it on there to make it hard. I don't want it to just slide right off, but at the same time, I want it to where I don't have to, like, you know, go at it with a hammer and something else to break down that adhesive that's now on your bar. And then if you ever want to replace those grips in the future, you've got to, you know, remove that. So I don't know if that means you would have to grind it off or whatever it is. So totally your preference. The instructions say to use adhesive, so that is from the manufacturer. The way I'm doing it is the way I'm doing it. I am not a professional, so just, you know, beware. That's just my personal preference. So let's go ahead and take these grips off. The fly-by-wire side, I'm really interested to see what it looks like because I've never taken it off, so I don't know what to expect. I don't know. Yeah, let me get you set up and we'll start taking stuff apart. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start taking off the housing here, the switch housing. So it's 2 screws, pretty simple. That'll allow us to remove that. Now let me get this mirror out of the way here. What is important is, because we're gonna be shifting things around a little bit, is in between your brake lever and this housing is a little switch, which is your brake light switch or whatever. So it's what detects whether or not you're grabbing the brake or not, and then sends a signal down to your brake lights to turn on, right? So you want to make sure you're very careful with that, because if you break it off, it's a pain in the butt to replace. I'm assuming, I haven't had to do it on a Milwaukee 8 or like a 17 or, you know, these newer bikes, but I have had to do it on my Softail, and it was a bear. Not fun. So I recommend you just use caution. All right. So you don't necessarily have, you shouldn't have to undo this. You just want to loosen things up, okay? And what my expectation is once I get things loose enough, I'll be able to slide this out. So looks like there's not enough room yet, but I think I just need to take some of this pressure off. Oh, there. Oh yeah, that's cool. All right, so there you go. So if you've never seen kind of the inside or whatever of the throttle by wire, it's looks like a gear there, and inside is the female side of this gear. So that's what grips on, and you just, yeah, spin it there. So pretty simple. Let's get the other grip. We'll slide it on and get it all kind of tightened up. So the one thing you may want to pay attention to is if you have a logo or something that you want to see, or at least make it match your other side, because I'm assuming the logos are made to be face up. Just make sure you kind of pay attention to that as you put your stuff together, so that way it doesn't annoy you later, right? All right, so that's on. So it's literally, you just push it on. That couldn't be any easier. So I just want to go ahead and kind of get things a little started. And like I said, you got to be really, really particular, careful with that switch. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that we're not filling any kind of binding or anything like that. And that we're not, you know, putting pressure or something wrong on that switch. Because again, we don't want to break it off. I think really the easiest way to tell is if you can't really kind of like just almost darn near squeeze things together with your bare hand, that tells me something's not lined up correctly. So that should be your dead giveaway to really get in there and make sure you're not goofing anything up. So now I'm like what we would call tacked, right? Throttle response is okay. I still got a little bit of movement there because I need to make sure my light's in a good place. So let me turn that on. And we're good. So now that I've got that set and good to go, all I need to do is just tighten these up. And then we'll jump over to the other side. So the nice thing about this left side, since we don't have to get that thing within the housing, all we have to do is loosen up the set screw. That slides off. Okay, so we've got that cut off now. We'll remeasure it, but as I had mentioned, you got to be careful. So I hit the sides. That's on me. What I like to keep around in the garage is some touch-up paint. So I'm gonna touch that up to just kind of hide that and protect the metal a little bit. But yeah, that's just one of those things, right? So let's measure it really quick, and we'll do another comparison here. So you want to make sure you're zeroized. Slide your gauge down. So we got 114 now, and the other one was 120. So we're a little bit shorter now on this one, which makes me wonder what this is going to look like once we get it on, if there's going to be a gap. Maybe there will be, maybe there won't. Let's go test fit it. All right, so real time, we'll see what this looks like. And it lines up perfectly. I am so freaking lucky. Let me tell you what, guys. I am not a polished YouTuber, which means I'm a regular dude in my garage. I don't kind of do all kinds of crazy prep or anything like that. So I literally had no idea whether or not this was gonna work out well or not. And it fits perfect. I mean, you can kind of, I'm like hit my tripod, everything else. It fits perfect. So I'm super jazzed because I thought I was, wondering whether or not this is going to be too short, and it's perfect. So it feels pretty tight. Like as you slide it on, right there is about where it starts to get a little snug. So I'm assuming it's tapered down in here. And so that distance there, you're actually pushing up onto the bike. Now it's not tight enough where you could just leave it like that. You definitely need to put something on. So I'm gonna clean up the surface, and I think what I'm gonna do, because it does feel pretty tight, actually I'm gonna measure this first, and then we'll see what kind of thickness we have to look at what adhesive I wanna put on here, or type of tape I should say. Okay, so I've got a really thin layer of black tape here, and I'm gonna do a quick test out. And that's pretty snug right there, so I think I got enough on there. And again, you want to pay attention to your logo. So mine's up, and that way it matches the other side. So there we go. Now, if you're wondering, Mike, what magical tape did you just use? Like, what is that amazing thing, right? Is it flex tape? Nope. It is the official tape of NASCAR. Duct tape, baby. Okay? The stuff, best thing on the planet, right? You can fix anything with some zip ties and duct tape. You ain't got to worry about nothing, right? That stuff, world peace. Duct tape and zip ties. Okay, guys, so let's take a step back and take a look. So there we are. Nice new grips, no binding. Everything's nice and tight, nothing's moving around. So you want to make sure of that. I do recommend you should put a little bit of Loctite on these. I've gone out to back these out and put them on because I forgot to do that. So that's important because you do get a lot of vibrations up in your handlebars. Not as much again with these bikes as you would on the Evos. And then we have our left grip there. Fits nice and snug up against the housing, so there's no gap. And again, use the Miracle tape there to kind of keep that hung on. And they feel great. These things are so comfortable. I'm just telling you, man, like these are great. And if you have cheap gloves like I do, having that additional cushion really helps out quite a bit. So we'll give this some time. I'll ride it. I anticipate that the grip will feel fine. The true test of time will be that left grip over there, just making sure that what I used to hold it in place is good to go, right? Like, is it gonna fall apart on me after some rain or whatever, and I go to pull on that handle, does the grip end up sliding right off, whatever. But you can see what it looks like. I love the black, kind of just, I went with that because since my bars are black, had they been chrome, I probably would have went with the chrome ones, but they have them both, and they're like 56 bucks. They're under $60 for the set, so Amazon. All right, so there you have it, guys. Pretty simple job. It was really cool for the first time seeing that throttle by wire You know, I was wondering if there was like some kind of magnet or something that sensed how the throttle was turning. And I was a little worried that it might be complicated, but as soon as I saw the grips, I realized it can't be too complicated. But I didn't look down inside the grip to see that gearing or those teeth that were stuck in there, so I had no idea until we pulled that off what it was going to be like. So that's kind of cool. It makes me feel a little bit better because it is a little bit simpler than I thought it was. And then the left side, you know, like I said, the instructions say one thing, but you and I now know better. I'm not sure when they went away from the grip going into the clutch side housing, so that's something that, you know, you'll have to take a look on your bike if you're you know, wondering which ones to get. I think if you get this set, it fits apparently both, right? Just pay very close attention to the fact that they offer throttle by wire, and then they have the cable style. So if you have a cable throttle grip over there, you want to make sure you get that one and not the fly-by-wire. So that's going to be a wrap for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you watching, and until my next video post, I hope to see you in the wind.